A young black woman in a faded off-shoulder blouse stepped forward, her boarding pass in one hand, her small backpack slung low. On her shoulder, a strange tattoo curled down like intersecting lines and numbers. Cold, cryptic, unsettling. "Ma'am, hold it right there," barked the security officer, Amanda Price. Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "That mark you with some gang." Passengers slowed, their stares digging into Nia Robinson as if she carried disease. Someone muttered, "Figures. Looks like trouble." Nia's throat tightened, but she didn't flinch. The ink on her skin wasn't rebellion, and it wasn't a gang sign. It was something far more dangerous, far more secret. Only a handful in the world knew what it really meant. Nia's boarding pass trembled slightly in her grip, but her gaze stayed locked on Amanda. The officer's tone dripped with disdain. "Tickets don't make you first class. That ink screams criminal." She gestured sharply, her voice loud enough for half the terminal. "Step aside. We need to re-verify everything." Nia inhaled slowly, steadying herself, but the sting was sharp. The crowd shifted, some passengers edging away as though her tattoo carried violence in its strokes. A businessman scoffed under his breath. A mother pulled her child closer. The isolation pressed in, suffocating as if the whole terminal was collapsing around her. "Ma'am, I already scanned in," Mia replied, her voice calm but clipped. "I've done nothing wrong. That tattoo isn't what you think." Amanda smirked, eyes cold. "Then prove it. Show ID. Show your bank card. People like you try tricks all the time." Heat rose in Nia's chest. She felt her shoulders stiffen. Her fingers curled tight around the paper ticket. A familiar weight of injustice. Years of being doubted, sized up, dismissed, returned like an old ghost. Passengers whispered again, eyes cutting her down to less than human. A man near the gate muttered, "First class." "With that look. Joke." Nia fought to keep her chin high. Every second of silence carved deeper into her pride. She extended her ID, her voice flat, but strong. "Everything checks. Stop wasting everyone's time." Amanda studied the card far longer than necessary, dragging the pause like a blade. She finally shoved it back, muttering, "We'll see if you still bored after my supervisor arrives." Mia's eyes darted to the floor. One hand lifted unconsciously to her tattoo, tracing its cold lines. She never wanted this symbol to expose her. But now, under the glare of 100 eyes, the secret carved into her skin threatened to erupt. The supervisor arrived, a tall man in a navy blazer with silver stripes at his shoulders. Jacob Miller, head of airport security, approached with deliberate steps. The crowd parted instinctively, the atmosphere tightening like a held breath. Amanda pointed immediately, her voice sharp. This woman tried to board with a suspicious mark. Likely gang affiliation. Jacob's eyes flicked to Nia. His gaze froze. Not on her face, not on her clothes, but on the tattoo stretching across her bare shoulder. His jaw tightened. He knew that symbol. Every soldier trained in classified circles knew it. It wasn't Gang Incorporated. It was the insignia of Project Sentinel, an experimental military defense program buried so deep it was spoken of only in locked rooms. The air shifted. Jacob's boots seemed to echo against the polished floor. He stopped right in front of Nia, then stunning everyone, his posture straightened. His hands snapped into a crisp salute. "Ma'am," he said firmly, his voice carrying across the gate. "Forgive the mistake. You have full clearance." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Amanda's smirk collapsed, draining into confusion and then panic. Passengers who moments ago sneered at Nia now stared wide-eyed, realizing they had just witnessed something far beyond their comprehension. Nia met Jacob's eyes, her own burning but steady. For the first time that day, silence worked in her favor. She hadn't needed to shout, hadn't needed to beg. The truth inked on her skin had spoken louder than anything she could say. Amanda's face flushed crimson. She stammered, "W8, that's impossible. It looks like Jacob cut her off." His voice like steel. "It is not for you to interpret. That mark is recognized by the Department of Defense. You've overstepped." The gate fell into stunned quiet. A businessman who had mocked Nia earlier shifted uncomfortably in his seat. A young woman pulled out her phone, recording every second. The tide was turning and Amanda felt it. Nia adjusted her backpack strap, finally stepping past the checkpoint. Every eye followed her, no longer with suspicion, but with awe and unease. The same whispers that once stripped her dignity now carried her name like a secret, too dangerous to speak aloud. Amanda tried one last protest, her voice cracking. "I was just doing my job." Jacob turned to her, eyes cold. "No, you were feeding your prejudice, and you nearly insulted someone whose identity you can't even begin to grasp." The officer's words cut through the air. Amanda stood frozen, her authority crumbling in front of dozens of witnesses. Nia moved toward the jet bridge, her steps deliberate, shoulders squared. Behind her, the whispers swelled, not in scorn this time, but in reverence, tinged with fear. She paused just long enough to glance back at Amanda, whose eyes darted between the ground and Jacob's unyielding stare. Nia's voice was quiet, but razor-sharp. "Symbols don't lie. Respect does." No one breathed. The line of passengers stood in silence, the weight of her words pressing down like judgment. Amanda's hands twitched at her sides as if she wanted to protest again, but nothing came. Nia turned away, disappearing down the jet bridge. The moment she vanished, the terminal felt emptier, as though her presence had carved a void no one could fill. Passengers shifted, embarrassed by their own complicity. Jacob exhaled, shaking his head. "Remember this," he muttered to Amanda. "Some marks are earned in ways you'll never understand." And with that, the lesson lingered in the air, heavier than any boarding call.